All right, let's do this. We're going inside the machine that knows what you want to watch, maybe even before you do. In this explainer, we're cracking the code of the Netflix recommendation engine. It all begins with a ticking clock. The moment you open that app, a silent, really high-stakes battle begins. See, Netflix research shows that the system has just 90 seconds to find something you want to watch. If it fails, you don't just keep scrolling, you leave. You check your phone, you go to sleep. The battle for your attention is lost. And this right here, this is the enemy Netflix is fighting. It's that modern feeling where a library of thousands of titles feels less like a gift and more like, a chore. So the algorithm isn't just a cool feature, it's a weapon, and it's designed to save you from your own brain. So how in the world does this system win a war against our own psychology in just 90 seconds? Well, it starts by watching your every single move, reading a language you don't even know you're speaking. Okay, so in the early days, Netflix relied on what we said we liked, our 5-star ratings. But they figured something out really fast. We lie. We give that serious documentary 5 stars because it makes us feel smart, that's our aspirational self. But on a tired Tuesday night, let's be honest, we watch the Adam Sandler movie. So the algorithm learned to ignore what we say and focus on the brutal, beautiful honesty of what we actually do. It's literally reading your digital body language. Every click is a signal. Every time you rewind a scene, that's a clue. It knows you're a different person at 10 p.m. on a Friday than you are at 10 a.m. on a Sunday. Every scroll, every pause, every single time you hesitate over a thumbnail for just a fraction of a second, it's all data. An invisible trail of your true desires. So with all of these behavioral clues, all these tiny little signals, how does it build a profile that can actually predict what you'll love? How does it turn millions of data points into a map of your soul? Well, the answer isn't in demographics. Your age and gender turned out to be pretty much useless predictors. The real answer lies in this powerful mathematical idea that won a $1 million prize and totally changed how the internet understands us. It's a technique called matrix factorization. Now, that sounds complicated, but the idea is kind of brilliant. Just imagine a giant invisible map of taste. The algorithm doesn't care about old-school genres like comedy or drama. Instead, it creates its own axes, like a scale from light and happy to dark and gritty, or from dialogue-driven to visual spectacle. It then places you and every single movie onto this map. Your next favorite show is simply the one located right in your immediate neighborhood. And these clusters get incredibly specific. We're not talking about just horror. We're talking about things like violent Asian action thrillers with strong female leads. And what this revealed is that taste has no borders. A 65-year-old in Kansas can be the taste doppelganger of a 19-year-old in Berlin, all because they're connected by this shared love for the same hidden vibe. But predicting what you'll like is only half the battle. In that 90-second window, the system also has to actively persuade you to click play. And it does this with a trick you've probably seen 1,000 times but never even noticed. Here it is. This is one of the system's most powerful secrets. The image you see for a show, that thumbnail, it's not the same one everyone else sees. It is chosen specifically for you, and it's designed to trigger your unique biases. The system uses a method called Contextual Bandits. You can think of it like a massive, high-stakes A/B test running in real time. The algorithm shows different images to different users and learns which artwork is the most effective at getting each specific taste cluster to press play. So let's take the show Stranger Things. If your viewing history is just packed with horror movies, the algorithm knows you respond to fear. So it's going to show you a dark, menacing image of the monster from the Upside Down. But what if you're in the teen romance taste cluster? Well, the system completely changes its strategy. It hides the monster, and instead, it shows you an image highlighting the budding relationship between two of the teenage characters. It's the same show, but a totally different promise. And if your profile shows you love 80s nostalgia and ensemble comedies, boom, it serves you an image of the kids in their fun Ghostbusters costumes. You see, it's not just recommending a show, it's personalizing the advertisement for that show, frame by frame, just for you. So you have to be asking, how did this system get so smart? The key thing to remember is that this machine isn't static. It is a living system, and it is constantly learning, evolving, and getting smarter with every single click you make. I mean, over the last 2 decades, this brain has gotten exponentially more powerful.
It's gone from the simple comparisons of the DVD era to the hidden taste maps, and now to deep learning models like transformers. This is the same kind of AI that's behind tools like ChatGPT, and it's so powerful because it can understand not just what you like, but the sequence and the context of your viewing, predicting when you'll be in the mood for it.
So all of this tech, the behavioral tracking, the taste mapping, the personalized persuasion, it's incredibly effective. But when a machine becomes this good at predicting and guiding our choices, you have to ask, what is it really doing to us? Because when a single system is responsible for 80% of all viewing hours for hundreds of millions of people around the world, it stops being a simple recommendation tool. It becomes one of the most powerful curators of global culture and human history. And that, well, that raises some very big questions, which we will explore next time.